Hello, I'm Phil Dobby. Welcome to CXO Unplugged. Now, Jackgreen is Australia's first and only dedicated renewable energy supplier. It was founded in 2001 by Andrew Randall, and he is our guest today on CXO Unplugged. So, Andrew, first of all, a little bit about your background. Were you in the energy industry, interested in energy? What were you doing before you started the company?
Yeah, my background's finance, but I've always had a very strong interest and position in renewable generation and environmental technology. So, very closely aligned, and we were looking for a business that could make some positive environmental change.
Right. So you've got a bit of a dual focus, haven't you? Because driving environmental changes, it's a very noble cause. But is it a commercial one? I mean, do you find you've really got two sets of targets here?
We do, but we fully believe, and certainly as we're moving into full recognition of damage to the environment from emissions, that there is very successful business models to be made in pushing for positive environmental change. And I guess we were sort of early on the block when we came out in 2004, 2005 with our full business model. But we are, it is very much proving that being a good corporate citizen, good for the environment, is definitely good for your bottom line.
Right. So it's an opportunity, really. You were looking at a gap in the market in what I guess was a pretty crowded industry, and you found a niche.
Absolutely, yeah. When we started, moving into a full business model and looking at the research at that time, you also got big energy players in this market, but at that time, green options or renewable options were really quite just painful for them, and they didn't have many, and they would try and hide them and make them very expensive. So that's where we saw there was a very, very strong opportunity, and certainly when we researched about 3,000 households in 2004, and it was clearly telling us 98%, I think, wanted to do the right thing by the environment. You asked them to pay for it, and you're down to maybe 3 or 5%.
Well, yeah.
So it was clear to us that there was a very strong opportunity, but you had to take the hurdles out for people to come aboard and start making incremental change.
Yeah, I mean, that is the question, isn't it? That people want to do the right thing unless it hits their hip pocket. So, I mean, have you really got a feel for how much people are prepared to pay extra, and how much is it really costing them to do the right thing?
Well, look, our first and basic product is a 10% green power product, which means you're getting 10% renewable generation on top of anything else that's already in the system, and that we were the first to come out with a no extra cost option for people to come on. So really just taking the hurdles out.
Yeah.
And then we can work on you to say, if you can afford it, you should look at increasing that. So we find that if you look at the 100% green power product, which is obviously the deep green product that people should be on,
yeah.
You're looking at around $6 extra a week. We'd say, well, a cup of coffee or two a week. If you can afford it, you should be doing that. And we find that people have been looking for us. We are the best price product. We don't try and put extra premium on the 100% green power product that our competitors do. So we keep pretty competitive on price. So people that want to do the right thing come looking for us. When we're out there marketing, it's usually come on the 10% product.
Right.
It's not going to cost you anything. You're actually making positive change in the environment, and you generally get the why wouldn't I sort of response.
And is that working? So for those people who started at 10%, are many of them building up the percentage?
Yeah, look, it is working. I'd like it to probably work faster and harder. And I think too, our focus is clearly customer growth to start with, and then once we've got the size customer base, and we've currently got about 75,000 customers. I think we still have some very heavy growth ambitions. Once that probably feeds back a bit, we'll work harder still to get then our customers to go to greener options.
So what are those ambitions? I mean, 70,000, it's a reasonable number, but I guess you've been around for a few years as well. I mean, it's a competitive market, isn't it, really?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, 75,000. We are planning to have 100,000 by the end of this financial year. So by June 2010, and we're probably tracking close to that figure. We would like to eventually have probably double that, 250,000 customers, and then once you are at that stage, you become become a relative player in the marketplace, and you can certainly get more more efficiencies as far as your business operations. I've got to say though, if you look at the way we're set up, you know, we've got all our systems, operations, back office. We're set up so that we can take you know, anywhere between 4,000 and 7,000 new customers every month, and that's the numbers that we do. So it just keeps, you know, sort of building up without any extra overhead. So the more we keep building, certainly up to that 250,000 levels, you can see the efficiencies really start popping out, you know, and just rolling that overhead over a larger base.
And I guess you're getting the sort of customer where they're joining you for a reason, because they feel as though they've got some sense of responsibility. So I'd imagine your customer churn's pretty low as well.
Yeah, it's sort of up and down. So we've got a half of our customer base are there because they want to be there. They really like what we're about. You know, they really want to be part of Jackgreen.
Yeah.
And we've got another half that, you know, been pitched well at the door, sort of, so to speak.
Right.
And they might be just as likely to be pitched at the door with, you know, through somebody else.
Yeah.
And we've also, in the early days when we weren't, you know, the things that we weren't doing right is, you know, credit checking and all those sort of things. So we're actually pushing a few of those customers that really don't want to be paying us out the door pretty quickly.
So they can go to the other guys.
Exactly. So we're inducing a bit of change. But once that settles down, and we're obviously working hard to get that first lot of customers, you know, pushed out, then our churn rates will be definitely very good.
Now it is, I mean, renewable energy is clearly flavour of the month. I mean, the bigger providers are onto this as well. So that must provide competition for you. I mean, your basic idea now, the big energy companies are onto it too, aren't they?
Yeah, they were onto it as soon as we appeared, actually. So it was amazing how green these companies got overnight when they saw a little you know company coming in that they feared might take the market. And so they, you know, if you look at the positioning, and it really relatively, it was at the point that we were coming on, they did recognise that they'd been missing the boat, and that they need to be coming out with much greener credentials. So we've had that competition from the start. Look, we're very competitive. It's you know, you put it down to a you know, in Australian terms, you know, Qantas versus, you know, a Virgin type approach. You know, much lower cost of operation, very customer focused, and being able to, you know, share that lower cost base, and we share it by the fact that we'll pay that first 10% of renewable generation on behalf of our customers.
So it is a market. Clearly, it's a market you can break into, because I would have thought it's like a lot of utilities. You know, the market's pretty sewn up. It's dominated by established players, but I guess you're showing that that's not the case.
Well, it is dominated by players, and if you look at this marketplace, it's, you know, quickly becoming a duopoly, really. You know, Origin and AGL, as they buy up the incumbent retail, the state government-owned incumbent retailers, and probably that will be the case in New South Wales. Which then, if that does happen that way, very much you've got two very dominant players, and we think that provides great opportunity for someone like Jackgreen, and we're really pushing ourselves out to be more than just a green energy company. We want to be a green tailer. So if you know, a household or a business is looking for, you know, what are the best options for them, that we can be there providing, certainly starting with information, but then ease of products or services, including obviously Jackgreen Energy, that they can be walking down the path. And it's, you know, with energy efficiency and energy efficiency products, you know, it actually is about saving money as well as the environment. So you know, a lot of this is kind of no-brainer stuff.
But it is, I mean, you know, because everyone's now following that whole the green approach and renewable energy approach, I guess everyone then starts going back to, well, okay, what else do we look at? We look at price. And it must be hard to make the margins and compete against the big players, isn't it?
No, I come back to, you know, our cost base is low, and we know that we've got to have a low cost base, be customer focused, you know, and be able to then be very competitive in the marketplace, and we are that. So, you know, as I mentioned to you, we were the first to come out with a no extra cost option. When Choice do their comparisons of the 100% green power products, you know, we're the best price by, you know, by a significant way.
Right.
So no, we can be very competitive. I think where it comes down to though is like the offer we make to you is, you know, we'll give you a no extra cost greener option, and people see that as a really good value equation. What it's actually meaning though is we're not providing you a discount, whereas the other guys, if they're trying to get a new customer, will be providing discounts. So we're saying, look, the discount, we're not, indirectly, what we're saying is the discount you might have been getting by changing, we're actually putting it into green, and they see that as value.
Yeah, which absolutely. I mean, that's a good payback for the customer, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, would you have? Well, I mean, you did do this 5 years ago. So 10 years ago, would you have been able to do this? Has the attitude changed that much over the last decade?
Yeah, I think it has. I really do think it has. And coming back to, the survey I mentioned that we did, where it was, probably saying, certainly was saying, 98% saying they'd like to do the right thing by the environment. We actually thought that was a bit surprising in 2004. We thought it might be more like 50, 60%. But we weren't surprised that, I can't remember, 3 or 5% were saying, I'm not going to pay anything extra. I think if you look now, that 3 to 5% is probably more like, 15%. I haven't researched it, but I think there's a lot of, it's becoming very much a mainstream topic, and people are aware that that things are going to be changing, and they should really be on the positive side of that. There's probably also a little bit of weariness about the topic and what can I do about it. So it's up to us to have a very simple, effective message for people to make some positive change.
Well, it's been very political. Of course, I mean, globally it's been very political, and in Australia, I mean, the politics have reached a crescendo. So, does that make your job easier or harder? I guess it alerts people to the issue, doesn't it? And a lot of it is around this: are we going to have to pay more for it?
Yeah, I think so. And look, I think the message is probably starting to come down that yes, we do need to do something about the emissions, and yes, things are going to change to make sure that happens. So we need to get that message clearer that you still have a responsibility to look at ways that you can reduce your impact, through your house or through your business. And we will be one of the leaders to coming through to saying, look, at this, you can actually save money by doing this stuff. So, and you'll be saving more money because energy and other prices are going to go up. And probably quite significantly once the impact of emissions is taken into the cost of energy and other things.
And do you think that conscience is spilling over to business as well?
Yeah, I do. I think it is. Look, business and conscience, obviously
they don't
always go together. But what you tend to find is, and I think there needs to be a mix of, there is a lot of conscience in the business, but you need to put that into a business sense as, right, well, how does that not affect my bottom line, or how can it affect my bottom line positively? There's two ways around that. The first is, I think, marketing the fact that you are environmentally conscious and you're doing the right thing. It's certainly proven to show good benefits within your employee base, because they feel that they're in something that's being positive, and they'll get more involved. And obviously to then your customer base, if you can get that message out that we are a environmentally conscious business, that can be effective extra top on marketing for you as it goes forward. So we probably need to concentrate on those part. And then as far as energy efficiency, that really is straightforward of why are you throwing money away, and also damaging the environment. So there's clear positive messages I think can be put through business.
Right, and it's not a very complicated message either, isn't it? I think you're doing a great job of showing how it, just how you can run a business that's environmentally responsible but is also successful. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.